Yo, everybody, welcome. UFC Fight Night. Brennan Royval taking on Kape. Before we get into this week's breakdown, got to give a shout out to our boy Lethal, holding down shop. Got a stack of cars, doing his fucking thing. So, my heart's out for him. I know he's put a lot of work into, getting his brand, his channel every bit as far as he has, and so some soy shit happened over the weekend. He got into it, put his foot down on business, was having an exchange with somebody who, from what I was told, was just being a piece of shit racist. And Lethal got banned. Got banned on IG. I don't know if this is permanent. But yeah, hopefully he'll get a different account rolling out soon or whatever that looks like. And yeah, all we can do is offer our boys some support. Also, shout out to Schmo, Schmo Bets, and Pro Schmo. Dana Black, he's got some killer merch. Go get yours now. He's got some sick fucking merch. And, dude, our boys, Dino and Dino, are absolutely crushing it. Fairly new to the YouTube scene, but the quality, the picks, they're like number one in a content pick race as well. Those guys are staying sharp. So between money, entertainment, picks, they got a good thing going for them there. So 10-7 MMA, go show some love and support to our friends. All right, now pretty underwhelming card compared to what you had for most of the year, and the obvious reason as well. Sorry, ESPN, it's the end of the contract, and we got big things to look forward to with Paramount. There's some debuting fights here, a couple vets, but really what this is going to come down to is, how good are some of these debuting fights, and for being 3 women's fights, how good are the vets going to show up and keep this like really entertaining? Not to say like Robinson's not live for a finish in her fight, but we'll go through these picks here and kind of tell you what I think. But yeah, big shout out also to Neil Magny. He's been really active this year and kind of putting his foot down as well. And he's got a fucking loaded gun and an opponent here, so this would be the ultimate Neil Magny win, in my opinion, in terms of like upcoming guys. And I am gonna absolutely be rooting for him. He's a plus 300 underdog right now, which is fucking insane. His live props are gonna go crazy too. Generally, he's gonna really pick up second, third. Starts in that clinch, the knees, the grappling, the wear and tear. It could be Neil Magny fashion. It would be absolutely wild. So, rooting for our friend there as well. So, give a second for a couple people to roll through, and we'll get popping here. Hope you guys enjoyed UFC 223 for what we were able to. I thought the card absolutely popped off. Last 3 fights a little rocky. Big fan of Tatsuro Taira. The prop actually won me a bit. His knockout prop was plus 1,500. So it was more of a sprinkle, but with the prop being so high, yeah, it took care of us just in my heart and from just what I thought was fair. I was really upset with the early stoppage from Moreno, especially since he was trying to work up to his base. Now, Tatsuro was easily going to win that round, and so I think it would have been Moreno being tough, coming back to the corner. All right, man, we're down 1. Like, that was tough. And Moreno just having that veteran experience over 2 and 3, maybe winning him back the fight. And robbed us of what I thought could have been a great leveling up experience from Tatsuro, having more octagon time with a crafty vet like Moreno. So, was mostly sad for Pantoja and Merab. Merab just for being so fucking active and daring, greatness, and having a really hard performance. Probably one of his, not that he performed bad, but like, man, Jan was masterclass. Like, that goes right up there with Garbrandt versus Cruz. Jan coming in against Merab. And I haven't heard that opinion. It's just probably the closest thing at that skill level that I can think of. Despite this was, Jan and Merab too. But the biggest heartbreak on the whole card for me was Pantoja. I consider myself to be a pretty good, Joshua Van fan early on. His climb. I was happy for him against the Royval fight. which we'll get into here on this fight against Kape. But I was just like, man, why did he leave his wrestling and his grappling at home? I mean, Charles Johnson really put out the blueprints on how to beat Van, and people just want to box with him. And we really didn't get to see Pantoja more than 6 strikes or so, into that first 20 seconds of the first round. And really fucking unfortunate, dude. So, yeah, I'm going to hope that Pantoja does return. He does meet that age statistic, and it's 125 pounds. So, I think a very inactive Pantoja is going to be really hard to make a return at 125. But if he's able to do it, I'll still be rooting him on. I mean, I absolutely think he was one of the better flyweight fighters of all time, next to DJ. And I don't know if I'd have to really go back and think about it hard to say DJ isn't number one, but Pantoja definitely did it with greater conviction and against way more talent, way better guys. So that's always going to be a fun conversation to have back and forth if he doesn't end up returning. But without a doubt, if he's able to return, reclaim, or even beat just another couple top guys again, I'd give it to Pantoja at that point in time, especially. So yeah, got a couple people tapping in right now. So we're live right now on a couple different platforms. I might even throw up IG is something haven't really quite done, but I've been kind of open to. Definitely some active participants on that side of the woods. So might get that open up here. We'll think about it. Just so you guys know, not always, but I typically do live reactions to the streams. And we call it bets, we call it plays. This week we built a 5-leg parlay for the main card that I was able to cash out live on the Merab fight. Right as Jan ripped that kick to the body on Merab, I cashed it out. So could have paid 240 going into the main. Could have cashed it out 160. I took my very humbling, I'll cash out at 110, and the bet was $15, so not bad. Speak of the man himself, 10-7. What's going on, man? Yeah, give these guys some love. They drive a fucking excellent ship over there. Shout out to our friend Dana Black, rocking some of that merch. And Pro Schmo, keeping it sharp per usual. So they got a killer squad. And then, of course, our friend, our other Dino, too, of course. Actually, matter of fact, which one of you drives the main account? Do you share it? Or which Dino am I talking to? Anyway, shout out to our friend Lethal. Hope he gets his account back. Shit's pretty whack, man. If he's unable to make another account, I might honestly just let him have Lethal Toad, just so he can have something. If it's not impossible for him to make a new account, if he has to, I'm sure he can. But he can hop on and use something just so he can get the news and hang out and talk. It's sad. Lethal, he really loves his fighting in life, and so when you take away his fighting and his friends, he's, it's tough. It's going to be a next tough couple of weeks. I wish they'd give him that account back. Oh, hell yeah, it's Bam Bam. Good shit. Well, that's awesome, man. Well, thank you for tapping in. I'm going to get through this card. Feel free to chime in and chat. Fades. I think there's some good dogs on this card. Finished props should be uploaded for me now. I'll probably review that and maybe consider putting out a lock sheet this week. Distance that we've been doing really good with, and there's some good unders here on this card I like a lot. With some of these heavier boys. Yeah. I'm happy we at least get one more, I know we had the big pay-per-view and 75% of it we were spoiled, but hey, I'll take this than having nothing all week. All right, let's go down, kick it off with the prelims. Thanks for tapping in, everybody. So, Teresa Bleda taking on Jamie Horth. Dude, Horth's kind of a good dog here. She's a bit of a gamer. She's one of those, as long as she can survive the first round, she'll come alive in the second, third. Offensive wrestling. Her striking isn't good, but because of the pressure and the standing control time, she finds herself some decisions. Um, Teresa's kind of one of those we're interested to see how she comes back, but we're expecting very dominant in the grappling exchanges, especially if the fight goes to the ground. But we're looking first round or bust. If Teresa is not getting it done the first round, I expect the Horth to come back in this fight. So if Teresa wasn't trying to break off some rust and had a little bit of a streak like Jamie had this year, I'd be a little bit more confident in her, and I know she is the favorite. So I'm ripping off the card this year with an underdog. Give me Jamie Horth to find her way maybe to a late second, third round finish, but likely to the judges. Staying away from distance on that one. Unless the finish props are really high, then we'll kick off a distance parlay as a long shot just for fun. But give me at least plus two. Give me at least plus 220 on distance or more, and we'll consider it. And we just rebuild it if it breaks, so it's pretty cheap. Oh, that's on me. I muted myself. Fuck me. Goddamn audio issues. There we go. Yeah, I can respect needing a break. We've been kind of going at this shit for 99% of the year, and yeah, it depends how much tape study you really do. That's always my thing. If there's, for example, on this card, there are some debuters. There are some kind of riddles we have. Um, people coming back. That always plays a factor too. It's really tough to say. I think this week's more of a coin flip in terms of how do some of these guys show up and what are some of these ceilings looking like versus how does so and so come back. Last week, really faded Barber given all the health issues. For me, she had to really come back and prove it, and she did. She did kind of exactly how I said she would win, come back second, third round, and do great. Um, she was actually crushing it at the end of the fight. I will say, the end of round two, Silva could have been nasty. She reversed that triangle position. Was like basically sitting on Macy's fucking face with her neck tied up. Could just start ripping some ground and pounds. So happy Macy got it done. Now I can feel more confident in picking her and talking about her. And from a betting standpoint, I had to fucking stay away from that fight because I just don't trust Silva for the reason she just showed. She just chokes. I trusted her enough against a health issued, Barber, but is what it is. I'm happy Macy's back. So yeah, first fight, let's go Horth. Not gonna think about it too much. Teresa's got to prove to me again this week, and Horth is the one that's the underdog. If honestly Teresa was the underdog here, I'd be hoping that she shows up great and is showing up like she's the favorite. So that is a coin flip for me from that standpoint in terms of the betting props weighing me in terms of a pick. But I do believe Horth gets it done. Ellen Fry taking on Fucking Project Pat out of Brazil. Here's the thing, man. Fry, from what I've gone back and looked on this guy, he fucking sends it. He is gonna brawl. He is gonna fucking hunt for that finish, that knockout. So I kind of like Fry, round one, round two, maybe knockout prop here. But again, I'll have to look at what those props look like once those get uploaded here tonight. Um, I think Pat just hasn't really proven it against half of the, you know what I mean? Some of these opponents are very questionable. So I like Alan Fry's his ability to kind of stand in exchange, keep the fight on the feet, scramble, and just be physical in there. I do think Pat has the ability to absolutely send him as well. So I like to fight under 1.5 here as far as like a betting pick. But yeah, sure, give me Fry as an overall pick. Moving up the card, we got fucking OnlyFans Luana Santos taking on Melissa Croden. I kind of fuck with Croden. I think she's all right. She's another person that kind of comes out and tries to send it and fucking to throw. And I don't think she's all that crazy impressive when you start getting into the rankings like top 15, but I think Luana Santos is on her way down. Like she's declining, and she's not pushing further into the top 10. She's on her way to the 15. So I think this is a win for Croden, but I'm not expecting her to be super dominant and go much further beyond, like, you know, at most up to the top 10 also. I'd be kind of interested to see Croden you know, top 5 or anything like that until another couple years more experience, because still fairly new at this level anyways. So all right, next on the card we got the big boys cracking off. You got Sean Sheriff taking on Steven Asplin. This guy is fucking hilarious. Just from an emotional pick side, I really hope Steven wins. He's from what we know, pretty funny personality. But he's grit. He's got power. And he's not the most athletic, but I think it's one of those things where he's definitely able to get into the UFC, dial in like Walter Walker did, get his ass in the PI, and you know he could still meme and be that goofy biggish guy. Always have that extra, you know, pad on him and shit. But dude, he when he actually wants to fight, that guy's one of those guys that I feel like can break something and still want to keep going, like a broken arm or broken hand. Like there's just something about him that makes me think like he's funny and shit, but like that personality piece comes from a life of maybe like striving for that thing, the friends, the attention, and all those things. And like as a fighter, he's devoted his life to this thing, and like the whole thing with his dad not being able to do it, so it's on him. I just think he's got that morality that makes him want to fight, even if it means life or death. So this dude's knocked, this dude's bleeding. I think Steven's still that kind of guy that, like, all jokes aside, buckles down and keeps going, keeps trying. So I like him from kind of a dog in this fight, because even if Sheriff is getting off and those shots absorbed are not looking good from Steven because he's not super technical and, you know, super polished, like he will still get hit. Um, but I could see him kind of buckling down. And Sheriff's definitely, in his own regard, you know, I mean, he can absolutely fucking send it too. So another fight. I like to finish within first 10 minutes. So I'll say round no to 3, but maybe one under 1.5 is live too. Got Bam Bam in chat says, I love this fight. I hope those titties win. Yeah, me too. All right. Next on the card, sorry, let me interact with the display here as well. Next on the card, we got fucking Neil Magny taking on uh, Yaroslav Amosov. So this dude, from what I've seen, he's just a fucking motherfucker. Like, he's gonna go out, hunt for the submission game, get the ground and pound, but he's not one of those guys that's looking to keep the fight on the feet the whole time. And with Neil Magny, I actually kind of like all of his clinch work. His takedown defense is pretty good, but when he's able to use that height, that range, that reach, and kind of start landing some rangy knees, some sneaky elbows, and makes his comeback second going to third round, I think it's really live. And that's one of these fights here where I think Magny's maybe more of a risk at being on the feet in this fight. But Magny's guard's pretty good on the ground too. So even if he gets taken down, is eating some shots, but he's kind of moving side to side, defending the submissions, I could see Magny going into a second, third round and just, again, being a dog, preventing the takedown, maybe seeing Amosov start to tire out and fade while Magny's picking up steam. So it's either going to go one of two ways. Magny's going to be in danger in that first round, or I think Neil starts to open up and just kind of prove that, well, he's been fighting at a very high level for a long time. And so despite the losses, like, he's been really fucking active. He's been really fucking active. So all I'm saying is that plus 300 prop, I don't mind. Magny is like maybe like a parlay piece or something, because plus 300, he's still a good dog. I don't care the level of opposition. He's still a dog. Had he not just got dropped by Prates, I think we would hold him to a crazy regard. And then what we do now in the regard is, well, you don't win that many fights without at least being pretty solid. So I'm never gonna count Magny out of a fight. I think he's a hell of a warrior, hell of a dog, but there is some danger coming his way in this fight. And so it's a really big, how fucking Neil Magny are you? Because I still look back at the Mike Malott fight. I still look at some other examples where he's been down, but do not count him out. And so we actually make really good Neil Magny live dog props. The highest I've hit him at is plus 1100. Going into the second round, about midway, he started picking up, was losing first in the beginning of second. We got him at plus 1100, and he ended up getting a knockout, which hit that prop too, which was crazy high. So Magny has won some incredible money for me. So I do like betting, the fight by finish. I'm not going to devote to the knockout here, although it would pay really well if Magny does win. But dude, Magny can cinch up some shit too. So both are alive for a submission or knockout by finish props. I'm not gonna bet the fight ends by knockout and lose because Magny got choked or did the choking. You know what I mean? This guy nonetheless is going to, like I say, have Magny in a bit in a world of hurt. So yeah, he lost to Jason Jackson. Yep, Bellator or PFL. Yeah, I saw that, and I kind of still I kind of think about that grind, and that's where I think, like, all right, well, if you can lose to Jackson, Neil Magny is a very tough debut fight still, or early fight in this guy's career, I should say. He had what other fight in the UFC? Oh no, this is the debuting fight. Okay, I thought he had one other one. No, this is his debut. But yeah, Jackson's pretty damn good, and he poses some good threats too. Well, yeah, third round finish. Third round finish. You know who gets third round finishes with punches and shit? Neil Magny. So, Neil Magny, from an emotional standpoint, obviously one of our Mud Hut warriors, always cheering on Neil Magny any fight he's in. But again, we do more times than not make good money with Magny. So yeah, let me take an incredible underdog in Neil Magny to pull the upset. And just, have those UFC vet um, years of experience show in this fight. But if the fight ends in the first 2 rounds, for sure, I'm going to say it's likely not in his favor. I think Neil Magny either takes this to a decision or gets a 3rd-round finish also. But yeah, Yaroslav, I understand if you have him, maybe don't be greedy for method. I understand maybe you want to push for the knockout, but I probably wouldn't be greedy on the method and just probably take a money line. I mean, unless it pays incredibly well for him by finish, I don't know. Like I said, it's going to be a bigger test for him than anything he's faced yet, in my opinion. So welterweight's a crazy tough division right now, and Neil Magny's been doing pretty damn good. Rankings all over the place. I hold Magny to a much higher level than when he's actually globally ranked. All right. Joe Anderson Brito taking on Isaiah Thompson. Honestly, been a little bit back and forth on this fight. I'm not super set one way or the other. Again, it's just anytime you got a debut, it's like, well, where can I put you at, right? Losing to Sabatini, don't disregard you all that much for that one. William Gomez, same kind of thing. The win over Jack Shore, Jonathan Pierce, those 2 things right there just look fantastic, right? So yes, he's lost, but he's lost against some high levels of opposition. But at the same time, I mean, Isaac's a little bit of a grinder. He's definitely pretty physical, I'd say. These Australian dudes are pretty tough. He's young. He's got a lot of time. But I think that this is a really big ask this early in his career. He'll probably be here for a little bit. I don't see him kind of going down the road where he's on his way out because he's on a 2-3 fight skid. I think he'll lose this one, win the next few. Just really depends. Brito's kind of fucking well mixed, I'd say, is a thing he can scrap. And he's getting scrambles, so I think he'll be smart and kind of take this fight to where you really just make those reads, work on his kicks. I like Brito's kicks a lot. Kind of just break this guy down, really. All right. Not really going to get invested on that fight from a picking standpoint either. All right, Amanda Lemos taking on Jillian Robertson. Robertson, she's a bit of a vice. I can see why she's a pretty decent favorite on Tapology. Lemos, her striking was really solid. It's really faded, unfortunately. She's like New Bronx's sister. They're just these old bleached Brazilians that are just on their way down, man. They aren't really going to be climbing the ranks much more than what they have. Yeah, one thing I can say still about Lemos is she's also not in the easiest of fights. But these are exchanges where anytime she's being grappled on, she's really just helpless. She's losing the minutes. She's losing the control time. The striking's still there from Robertson on the ground and pound. I think she can get nasty and physical with this fight and get a finish. Likely going to be a submission win. But Lemos, if she's able to keep the fight on the feet, I'm also not in love with Robertson's striking. When her takedowns they've been there, but Lemos has somehow found her way to her feet. I don't really think that's the case in this fight, but let's just say, Robertson starts gassing a little bit in that second, 3rd round. That's where Lemos could start to come back and look good if it fight isn't over. But I reckon we'd get a first, 2nd round finish by Robertson. We get a submission. So that's my official prediction, but I'll take Robertson via money line so we can respect the decision win too. Probably wins the first 2, even if she loses the 3rd. Ends up walking away with a decision. All right, another friend of the channel, King Green, really nice guy. I like the activity. I know Bobby's had his ups and downs in terms of these win losses, a little bit of a skid overall, but he is one of those company guys that's always taking those last second fights, and this is definitely one of those. This just got thrown on within the last couple days, and I will say this: Lance hasn't really fought all that, high levels of opposition. Like, it's not that he's necessarily looking the worst or anything, but it's always a tough ask when you can, just like, what's happening with Neil Magny and that guy. It's like, these are such tough asks to come in and fight a veteran, but at this level. Neither of these guys are, in my opinion, early prelim fighters. And that's where most UFC debuts start and probably should start, because it's such a big ask to go against guys that have been in those top 10 rankings and have had their own paths to a title shot. I mean, at some point in time earlier in their careers. So now that, yeah, things are going backwards, we've faded, we lost those ranks, but to who, right? And that still has merit, that still has value. I was at UFC 300, so I got to see the kind of awkward striking of Bobby in person. And outside of having the spotlights and it being the world's biggest platform and making a debut, what an interesting person to try to train for and strike with the hands low. Obviously, anything you can throw top shelf, mix it in, that's going to be wonderful for you with those hands kind of dropping low. I will admit, it's always a little nerve-wracking when Bobby's in a fight and you want him to win and you're seeing those kicks go top shelf. So we all know that. We've seen it. But when Bobby's able to find his rhythm, his flow, let the hands go, I've always enjoyed watching his fights. And yeah, I still think that this is a bigger ask for Lance than it is of Bobby Green. So I think this is a tough debut. King Green is a crafty vet, wins this fight either late finish via knockout or decision. I don't know if my audio's super loud or not now. I just had to adjust my microphone. Yep. Next on the card, we got Kennedy. I think this dude's a fucking striking savage. He's very athletic. He's rangy. He's quick. But there's one kryptonite about his striking, and that's his ability to defend a takedown. So I kind of understand the matchup with Marcus. I can't imagine Kennedy isn't, trying to work on this skill set, grind it out as a team, fix that hole in his game, or else he probably wouldn't have taken this fight, honestly. I don't think he can really afford to go on another two-fight skid. He's trying to pursue that top 10. He's 14. He's definitely a great new look to the heavyweight division. But he's shown, man, if you can cross that sniper distance and quit allowing them to be in and out, tit for tat, and use that speed, he's got incredible kicks, actually, too. Yeah, to no surprise, he's a little smaller in the heavyweight division in terms of that wrestling prowess. He doesn't quite have that defense. He's not sprawling, using that height the best. So Kennedy does have some holes and some worries in this fight. He's a 74% on Tapology. But yeah, that's a really good fade if you wanted somebody that could just pull the upset based on the martial art. I mean, I understand Marcus as the upset here, so I'll actually look at a submission prop. I may play this both ways. Kennedy by knockout with a little bit of sauce, because that's what I think happens. But yeah, if Marcus underdog prop by submissions pretty high, we might consider it. The for sure thing in this fight is I'm going to stay away from 1.5 in this fight, but give me under 2.5. I think we get a finish, even if it's early second round. Fights reset. Kennedy's able to strike. If not, start a third round. Again, Kennedy's reset on the feet, able to strike. And I think he pieces Marcus up with a really big, right hand. Or obviously it could be one of these kicks, but Kennedy could throw just a really nice right hand that just sends him out. All right, next fight on the card, I think is a contender for just being an absolute fucking badass fight. We've had a share of really good fights this year. This one on paper says it can be part of that list, part of that conversation. Milky Costa taking on Morgan, the fucking last pirate, Charrier. Both of these guys are grit. Both of these guys impose really good scraps, fast in their scrambles, and the wrestling pieces there for Morgan. But the jiu-jitsu is actually fairly respectful from Costa. Costa's been able to sneak, very sneaky in these exchanges for anyone who's being a little too offensive. And he's been cinching up these wonderful fucking guillotines. So I told myself after his last few performances, I'm really not going to fade Costa until they give him a really top-ranked guy. And I think Morgan's on his way, but he's just following the path of Costa. I think Morgan is still going to pursue, still be in the top 15 of featherweight. I think he's a wonderful prospect still. But yeah, he's had his share of tough fights, and this is certainly one of them. I think Costa's had to fight higher levels of opposition, and he's been passing these tests. So give me Costa. I won't be greedy. I'll take a money line, but I really do like his submission and jiu-jitsu capabilities in this fight. If Morgan's leaning on the wrestling side, I will say when it comes to the striking, I like Morgan's hands better than Costa's. I like Costa's kicks, but dude, Morgan can match that. He's got some chopping, thudding power, and makes you really think about, guarding and dropping your hands to protect, and then he'll clean you up top shelf. He's a very crisp, clean striker as well. So Morgan's definitely more technical, but he can absolutely let it go and brawl. I think Costa's really not so much of a threat with the striking alone, but his ability to be tough, get close to you in these fights where he can really mix his grappling, his trips, and just have these kind of, these scrambles. If you're at range, I think you win with Costa. You got to take away his ability to wrestle. All right, pretty decent fight coming up here. We got Cesar Almeida and Cesare Olszewski is Michael's fucking younger brother, I think it is. Anyways, really good boxing, really good power. Has a decent amount of fight experience. Him and his brother, they're both fucking gangsters at the end of the day, hitting very, very nice knockouts. And you got to remember about Almeida, he's one of the few people that beat Poatan in kickboxing. So, Almeida, he's got that power. He's shown that power with his hands especially. But he also can get rocked too. So I think this fight's easily under 1.5. Give me violence. Give me an early finish. Give me something spectacular. But the fight ends via knockout 100%. If I'm not happy with under 1.5, I'm going to just lock up fight by knockout. So I can get that extra minute and a half if I really need to. But I'd be surprised if we see a third round. I think Almeida's kickboxing is going to actually help him in this fight with the chops. I think it makes him a very good underdog. But dude, all these Poland guys are showing up, and they're all showing up and winning. They're all showing up and getting these incredible fucking knockouts. So I'm not going to fade the Polish power, but this is still a pretty big ask. At the end of the day, we got some youth advantage here. We got some speed, and they both possess the power. So I don't think all the crafty vets are going to show up and win their fights. I think it's a tougher up-and-comer in what Neil Magny has to deal with than what Caesar's dealing with. So that's obviously one of the biggest long shots. But Almeida is a great underdog at this spot too. If you can get Almeida plus 200, consider it. Respecting the decision here as well. But maybe just winning off that technical second, third round, getting more points. But I actually do worry about Almeida having the gas in the third round to get the job done. And Cesare even being live for a finish. But he likely gets it, and he likely gets it in the first round or two. And that's just how these guys get it done. They don't waste a lot of fucking time. And so there you go. You can even see 7 first round knockout finishes. So still got a lot to prove. Caesar's been proving it a little longer at this level. But nonetheless, we'll see how that one goes. That would be a very interesting fight, in my opinion, to see in terms of, where's the ceiling at still, you know? All right, moving on to the co-main event. We got Giga Chikadze taking on Kevin Vallejos. Chikadze, very fucking decent overall resume in terms of the volume of fighting, and he's had some big names. He's had his moments. I really had him fucking losing. Which fight? Which fight was that? The Arnold Allen fight. The Arnold Allen fight. I couldn't fucking believe. Or no, sorry, no. He obviously he lost that fight. Yes, I was gonna say Allen did good. I think I faded him in the Barbosa fight. This is when Barbosa wasn't even doing all that fucking bad 4 years ago. And then things really took a fucking hit. So, there was just a fight where I remember him winning, and I'm just like, oh, he fucking surprised the shit out of me, is what he did. So, but I think he's at the end of his gas tank, Kevin. Very crisp, very grit. I love to go back and watch that fight with Silva. He held his own. He had significant moments in the fight, too. Again, both very technical. Giga's going to mix the kicks better. He just does. But at this age, 37 years, do they still have that same snap, that same flash? Is he setting himself up to get fucking rocked? I think Kevin's one of those guys that, if that question's true, then yes, I think Kevin's technical enough to expose it. I also think Kevin's grit enough to eat most of the shit being thrown at Giga, or from Giga. Giga doesn't really have that volume where he just pours it on. He's very patient. Even when he hits a successful shot, he's not gonna empty the gas tank per se. He's gonna just try to line up another technical shot until it drops you. And that's where I see Kevin. Yeah, when you are absolutely coming at him like a fucking loaded gun, you're not really gonna just mop him up and have your way, but you're each gonna have moments. You're each gonna have exchanges, and so without Giga being able to pour it on Kevin the way that Silva did, I very much use that as a fight to think how this stylistically rolls out in a striking exchange, and just know that Kevin is able to reload, gather himself, make the adjustments. I think Giga at range is still a problem, but that's where I see Kevin crashing and closing that gap, working to the body, and just using his hands while Giga is getting his knee shut down and his kick shut down, and it's just his hands too. And at this state, I can't trust that Giga's there anymore at this level. I can't trust that he's going to get it done. So go ahead and give me Kevin. I think he joins the top 15 here very soon, and this is a huge boost in the rankings for him, and I think that's very intentional. Argentina getting one on the board here soon. Moving into the main card, Brandon Royval taking on Manel Kape. You know, Royval, kind of a mystery to me, and how he showed up against the way that he did with Joshua Van. You could have told me that he had money on himself in that fight going to the judges. He could have told me that he was even bribed by the UFC to box with Joshua Van, and I would believe it. He's got incredible pressure grappling, and that's why he has some pretty admirable wins. I mean, I know Pantoja has the spotlight, especially with the news with his arm, and not in a good way. But outside of Brandon Moreno, outside of, Pantoja and Figgy, you have Brandon Royval, who's been part of this story in determining this rise, this claim to fame. And he lost to Pantoja, but look at, he beat Moreno, he beat Tatsuro Taira, and those are two fantastic back-to-back wins. And I was rooting for Tatsuro so much in that fight. And we see how good Tatsuro is with his scrambles just in the Moreno fight. So you just have to respect that from Brandon Royval. But it's a mystery in why he came out and how he came out a year later in Joshua Van. This fight's been booked twice and has been canceled. And I think this is a fight that it makes sense from a ranking standpoint. It's going to put Manel right in that top 5, help keep this division moving, right behind Tatsuro Taira. I think we could now end up seeing Brandon Moreno taking on Manel after this fight, in my opinion. If not, Manel just sits back patiently and waits for the status health update of Pantoja. For anyone that says, oh, that wouldn't make any sense for Moreno to fight Manel, I mean, Royval just beat Moreno. True, but Tatsuro Taira, in my opinion, is part of that top 5 also. And so if this gets him a win into the top 5, then fight another top 5 guy, since Pantoja's got to come back and he's going to deserve a title shot by then more than Manel, assuming that by the time that fight happens after Tatsuro Taira and Van, that Pantoja might be healthy, might be ready. If not, I think you do a title contention fight between Moreno and Manel and let them settle it. That would prepare a possibility of seeing Moreno Van, which would be a fucking scrap. It also prepares, if Moreno was to get it done, become the interim at that point, because Pantoja is obviously the champ. Could also prepare Moreno and Pantoja for Moreno's last fight in terms of going for rankings, and it's probably down the rankings or maybe even up in weight for fun, but I can't see Moreno coming up to 135. So Manel, win or lose here, I still think he's going to have some fun top 10 fights. I like his striking more than Brandon. I can't believe my own eyes if we see Brandon want to stay on the feet in exchange with Manel in this fight. I think the consensus was really easy and obvious. I'm sure his team had reasons why Brandon's grappling wasn't there. I'm assuming there was some kind of injury. I just can't imagine why Royval would not have grappled in that fight. So I think he's got a lot of feedback since then. I think he's actually scared of the power of Manel versus the power of Van. And I think it's an obvious he should just be on the ground getting that control time. Now Kape can scramble. He's got the athleticism. He's got power. But Brandon, as you know, he's a complete 5-round fighter. He does not fade. He's going to fucking be on you like this all 5 rounds. And Manel, I actually like earlier in the first 3 rounds. If he's to get a finish and get a knockout in this fight, I'd almost expect it to be in the first 3 rounds, or else I can't imagine that he's going to outclass Royval at that level of the fight. Those championship rounds, it just simply put, Royval's got that championship round experience. So, kind of surprised that Manel Kape isn't a favorite ever so slightly, coming off the loss to Joshua Van. And Manel just, again, opposing such an incredible fucking threat. But, yeah. I'm going to also say that Royval gets it done. Being just more veteran, more experience. And he's already beat some tougher guys than Manel, in my opinion. And that's what makes Royval hard to dismiss. But, man, if he lets us down here, I'm going to have a really hard time gauging him. It's really going to come down to how he fights. If he continues to strike and not mix in his grappling, then there you fucking go. I am checked out on Brandon Royval, and I'll continue to fade him from there. But assuming last fight was a fluke with Van, give me Brandon to get it done. Decision, however, probably staying away from finish prop here. I may take the under 4.5 to respect both sides. But I won't get overzealous and include it in a long shot or anything like that. Or I guess a lock. I could see this going 5 rounds too. Hey, what's going on? Nuitan. Thank you for stopping in. just kind of wrapping up the main fight here. The main fight night main event of Brandon Royval, Manel Kape. Main card definitely picks up. Prelims got some pretty good fights. Again, the Caliber fight with Neil Magny, Crafty Vet. Got the Crafty Vet and Bobby Green, pretty good. And yeah, Lemos and Robertson, not the worst of women's fights. That one's going to be interesting. And I like Kennedy's fights in these heavyweight divisions because whether it's him or his opponent, someone's getting dropped. So, and we got Mr. Titties himself and Steven. So I'm gonna be in. I like to finish prop here with Alan Fry, fight under 1.5 rounds. So we got some good finishes, some good crafty vets to look forward to. So, oh hell yeah! Looks like the Thailand flag there. I'm from Thailand. I love you so much. Hey man, congrats on having your champion. I'm sorry that it had to happen the way that it did happen. But at the end of the day, congrats. Just he still has to fight Pantoja in my mind. Or else I still kind of see him more of an interim spot, man. It wasn't really a fight. Hate to say it, but 6 strikes and a fluke accident doesn't make you the champ when the GOAT still has yet to make a return if possible. If he can't, he's over that hill, right? 35, 36. It's very tough. He literally fits the statistic that Volkanovski barely just overdid. And Diego Lopez, he was the first champ to come back over the age of 35 against a loaded gun to reclaim his belt. And the difference here is we have a big injury, and we're fighting at the lightest weight class in UFC at 125 pounds. So the question is Pantoja really okay? And then can he make weight? And then sure, as long as Van's still champ, I think he gets the belt back. No problem. But if Tatsuro Taira gets the belt and Brandon Moreno has a chance to come back and maybe get this belt, Royval gets this belt, those are guys that, because of their ability to mix and scrap, I could see Pantoja with that past injury having a harder time, not being so dominant. But if Van gets the belt, remains as a champ, and say Manel Kape gets a crack up there, and we keep these more predominant strikers, well, you can break Pantoja's fucking elbow, and you can whatever with his shoulder you want to make up UFC, fucking cringe lords, but you'll never crack Pantoja's chin. It's up there with Marvin Vittori's and Kelvin Gastelum's. Good fucking luck. I would love to see it happen. Don't think you crack his chin. The cannibal is a cannibal. So you're going to have to break his limbs because you can't break his skull. So, but yeah, that's going to do my breakdown for this week in terms of picks. But I'm going to focus on distance under and overs here. Some of the ladies' fights will have some overs until we don't. Give me Lemos and Robertson by finish as a fun piece. Kennedy's fight's not going to the judges. Magny's fight's not going to the judges. Steven's fight's not going to the judges. Allen's fight's not going to the judges. Fireworks between Almeida and Cesare is going to be very good. I think that's a knockout fight right there. And then probably the fight of the whole card is going to be Last Pirate and Costa. I'm just going to witness greatness and respect both guys for being very fucking good. We'll look at props, but man, that's a very fucking tough fight to bet on, in my opinion. I like watching that one as a fan. And then, yeah, we'll take Kevin as a pick. We'll look at his money line prop. Definitely not a bad time to pick him up if we can. I think his props are going to get a little worse over time. And without even looking, I'm assuming Royval, if not the underdog, slight favorite. And I like Royval at slight favorite or underdog. And Kape's almost like knockout or bust for me. So we'll look at props. If they're really high, like again, we took Brandon Moreno. We liked his submission. We liked his knockout decision. However, money line was the safest one. I also went to Tatsuro Taira. His knockout prop at plus 1,500 and his submission prop at plus 650. I had stake on both sides. I did the math. I was going to make money as long as we got a finish in that fight. And at plus 1,500, Tatsuro Taira absolutely fucking hammered me for UFC 323. So we'll look further into props. We'll find fights that we can fade and really root for distance. But if the props are high enough, we'll root for specifics and kind of just hammer home. So anyways, that's going to be my breakdown for this card. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Much love. I'll keep the live stream rolling. We'll be chilling. We'll be just jamming. I'm going to get the YouTube upload now. We'll catch you guys soon. And come through the live stream if you guys ever catch me streaming on IG and YouTube and Twitch for UFC events every weekend. All right, much love, guys. I'm looking forward to the Paramount year. Looking forward to keeping this thing going. I will mention just real quick, we are pushing close to 100 units. I'm in about 91, 92 range after that last card. We had an absolute fucking banger year. And I had some other casino things happen that made it a fantastic fucking year. So, thank you guys for being part of that, whether it's from being part of the live streams where we were cooking up parlays live. We took a 5-leg, $15 to cash out 230. Ended up cashing out early since it included Moneyline Marab. Didn't go his way. We took the cash out at 110. Hey, you're still getting about a 10x payout. I'll take that all day, especially when it's in the palm of our hands for control. Love those live bets, those live props. That's how it kind of worked. We could have cashed out at 160 going into the main, but much like the world, I don't think we were expecting to see that level of Piotr Jan show up. That's got to be up there with Dom Cruz and Garbrandt, as I mentioned earlier in the stream. So, all right, going to kick this one off to YouTube. We'll catch you guys next time. Thank you so much. Again, big shout out to friends of the channel. And, yeah, let's go Neil Magny and Bobby Green from a vet standpoint. They got some big asks. But, you know, had a chance to talk to both these warriors, and they're both really chill guys. So, yeah, they've had to deal with harder tests in the past. That's all I got to say. So it is going to be a tough one, but they've dealt with harder ones. So that's the thing you got to respect there about our vets. All right, guys, much love. Peace. All right. I'll get the YouTube rolling here in a minute. I'm just going to chill out for a minute. Chill, baby, chill. So who's chilling with me right now? We got Bam Bam in here, I think. And then Newton. Newton or Newton? What's good? How you guys doing? Are you part of all these storms? Pulled up a forecast earlier, and there was a lot of ice and snow where I'm at today. One of my bosses couldn't make the drive. We had a really cool day. Had us go to this little arcade spot next to work for a department hangout, like holiday party for ourselves, just sort of like a department thing and not a company thing. And so, yeah, we had this really cool arcade pub that we all just kind of hung out at for a few hours, and had a really good ass day. But with the roads and everything being so bad, certain people just sadly couldn't really make it. So hope you guys are staying safe and enjoying yourself indoors nice and warm or cool, wherever that may be. Cheers. Let's look at props. Let's cook a little bit. I just want to jam out and just kind of think here. And then we'll get that video uploaded and posted to socials. And then honestly, depending on time, 10:30 now, I'll probably chill out for a few hours, get on either like Battlefield or play something else. Project Diablo is pretty good. Might be one of my last days to play that because another game's coming out with a big holiday patch. I might be getting down on. So let's review some bets that I already have in place. And then we'll go ahead and start looking at locks. These are just values at money line I wanted to secure early, mostly at plus props. So I think a lot of the women's bouts are good dogs starting off. So yeah, give me Horth. Got her at 126. I got Croton at 102. Had to throw some love on our boy Neil Magny, like I said, at plus 300. I know it's a big ass this week, but you know he's had harder tests too, and this still is a debut. So don't get overconfident. Got a long shot and some favorites that I like. I got Robertson. I got Green. Got Kennedy. Got Costa. That's the hardest leg on this in my opinion. This is just kind of a long shot anyways. And then I got Kevin. I could run the same parlay with Pirate in place of Costa, honestly, but not bad. About a plus 1,000 prop there. Nice little sprinkle. But yeah, let's look at finish props here. There's some big boys, and they should have been posted by now. So first fight on the card, still don't have distant props there. Let me check out our boy Steven. No finish props there. So yeah, FanDuel, not quite up to date. Neil Magny's got props. Fight to go the distance, no. Negative 150, I kind of love that prop. I know Magny's tough, but man, this is a really tough war. And I think Magny's live for his own late finishes. So negative 150 there. Fight not to go the distance. We're definitely going to parlay that. Let's see if we got any more of these. Nothing, no distance on the Bobby Green fight. Okay, we got props for Robertson by submission. Plus 220. Lemos by knockout at 700. Props with Kennedy's up. Negative 380. It's not a big payout, but much like Merab, well, originally, for those who've bet on Merab the last 14 times, consider it kind of safe. What I'm going to consider doing on this one is I'm going to look at round props, and we're going to go under 1.5. Plus 100. And that's, again, between Kennedy and Marcus. Under 1.5 rounds, I like it. Let's check out the Almeida fight. We can also bet distance there. Now, see, that's negative 260. Or you could choose how will the fight end. Knockout, negative 155. I think it's a knockout. So it's an extra, 100 prop. We'll take it. Now the last fight, Manel Kape, Brandon Royval. Will it go the distance? Negative 168. It's tough, dude. It's a very tough thing because I think both guys are pretty durable and can scrap. As the live finish, or is the finish live? Absolutely. At negative 168. But you could also run this one both ways. You got the plus 132 if you think it does go to the judges. So that's a tough one there. Kevin, he could crash on Giga. Negative 102 for this to go to the judges. Plus 126. Kind of want to stay away from that one on a distance standpoint. So really what we're just waiting on, guys, is we're waiting on some of these earlier fights to open up. Because I'll tell you this, the fight with Steven ain't going to the judges. And the fight with Allen ain't going to the judges. And I already got two legs at plus 229. So those other props piled on, we're probably looking closer to a plus 500. And we'll put chalk on that. Those are finished props I'm very confident in on this card. So we'll let that cook. I'll keep the two legs open for now, but we'll keep an eye on the props. They'll still pretty early here for me. They normally don't get uploaded till like midnight, so it's another hour and a half, and we'll have the rest of the props up. But FanDuel's just putting them up now. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and get the video up rolling to YouTube. And then, like I said, we'll just kind of jam out. Kick it a little bit on the stream side. Feel free to put your like most confident picks in chat. Fights you're looking forward to. Biggest bets. Anything you want to add to the card for entertainment purposes, just shoot it. Shoot the shit. Chill out. I kind of wanted to started killing my YouTube streams at the end of the UFC breakdowns and keep this devoted to the YouTube side and do Kick and Twitch if I do game and chill. So I will probably kill stream on the YouTube side to do that because I'm going to listen to music and I really don't care about being warned and copy strike because they're just like extra accounts to me. Even though the Twitch account actually is the original like 2011 account and is currently affiliated and had some good days on it. So not trying to intentionally get the account banned, but yeah, I'm not going to get banned for listening to music. My audio gets muted and I get the copyright shit and the email. So it's not a big deal. But yeah, going to be making a bigger push on YouTube this next year. Make some video content. Right now, I kind of do this the same as I would live stream. If you guys have been part of those, it's what you're seeing in this video is the same there. So, yeah, appreciate the support on both sides, I guess. But I'll be doing more video content. Try to get out of my office, go do some more stuff. Might even get like a GoPro or something. Start doing some rounds of disc golf. Do some open activities and just talk and chill. Maybe just get a little community rolling here this next year. And then hoping to continue to partake in all the collaborations. We got Lethal Toad MMA. Again, big shout out to Lethal Hand Collectibles for being my mate in that process. We also have our friends over at 107 MMA. Dino, Bam Bam, Pro Schmo Bets, and Dana Black. Always a pleasure kicking it with you guys and reviewing these big pay-per-view cards. So definitely give some love over there. Shout out to Dana Black also for killer merch. He had a nice little discount code. Go check out his socials. Maybe they still have some of those good holiday sales and shit like that going on. We ended up ripping this guy up. And Islam, because I don't have any Islam shirts. And I think he's up there. Man, he's pushing Mount Rushmore. He's got champ status. He had to make that jump from 155 to 170. That's still a 15-pound jump. It ain't a typical 10-pound jump. So Father's plan's been proven to be quite a fucking plan. But at this point in time, it's beautiful that Khabib's his coach. And it's Khabib's plan too, So he's broken my heart. He's beaten all my favorites, just about. But he's proven himself quite beyond what's necessary when you look at how he's getting it done and the levels of guys he's doing it to and who they are, despite some of the weight differences coming up in weight to fight him too. Really want to see Ilya versus Islam Paramount. Dana said he's interested in making big fights. It's not USA versus the world. I don't think there's a bigger fight you could do in the UFC. If it wasn't, in terms of pound for pound in a super fight, I think the fight with Ilya and Islam will happen, but the White House card might actually be looking like, well, they want it to be Patty, I think, to be quite honest. I think they want it to be Patty and Ilya. But, yeah, we'll see. This will be an interim champ fight, so it could be Gaethje, Patty, obviously one of those guys. I'm rooting it for it to be Gaethje since I know this is his last effort at it. Personally. But I can't say I'd be upset for one or the other. You know what I mean? Like, I love both those guys. So, just be really sad for Gaethje. But he's had his chance. You know, he fought Khabib, lost. Was over very quickly. And this could be very much the same. If you're going to believe in Khabib's pressure and his grappling abilities, you have to believe in Paddy's. Difference is, Khabib didn't have terrible shots absorbed, and Paddy is good. He's gotten better, but he's not perfect. And Gaethje can sting and stun you. You know, he's got that power. We haven't seen Paddy truly connected on flush, and he's had some shaky moments, but he hasn't been like absolutely in a trance as he's come up in weight. You know, he's really gotten it buttoned down. He's way more technical. His shots absorbed have dropped a lot, but man, early Paddy, it would be a joke. People would be memeing if you said that he'd come and beat Gaethje at that time. You know, Gaethje's like a boogeyman when it comes to standing and trading and banging and just throwing with that killer shot, that uppercut. I think Gaethje gets it done down the middle with an uppercut as a signature, and that knocks out Paddy. I think it happens in the first 2 rounds. But if you told me Paddy took down Gaethje, and not by via ground and pound, but probably submission, I could believe that too. So we'll see. It's such an interesting fight. However you want to look at it, it's fucking crazy, dude. I'm just updating some thumbnails here. Yeah, fuck. How's everyone doing? Just about getting this wrapped up, guys. Well, like I said, probably kill stream, get things set up between Kick and YouTube and Twitch, just so I don't have to worry about getting my shit copy striked, and then we'll be jamming some music and just chilling. We'll be just fucking chilling. We are getting this shit uploaded, guys. We'll see who's still chilling with me. You know, Newton, we're gonna be switching over, or whoever's chilling here, we're gonna be switching over to our Twitch and Kick account. The Kick's new. The Twitch has been around for a while. Hop on either one of those. The YouTube video for this is getting uploaded now. When that's live, feel free to go back from the beginning and check out my full card predictions if you guys are interested. We've had a really good year. Done about 92 units. Was really hoping the last card would have pushed me over 100. Couple upsets between the Marab loss, which wasn't really a big loss in money. I mean, we had a couple parlays that fell. But I had one I was able to cash out of live, which I was really happy with. And then the Moreno loss. The fight not going over 1.5 rounds also. But overall, it was a really good card. We crushed it early in the card, and the Moreno fight was more a morality loss for me. Sad for Moreno. But Tatsuro paid us plus 1,500. His TKO knockout prop was plus 15, submission 650, Moreno submission 13, and knockout plus 950. Fight by finish, safe, hit all angles, cash out. We took the highest one, plus 15. So it worked out pretty good. That was sad again. But yeah, man. Not going too bad, Newton. We're going to be switching over to our Kick and Twitch profile here in a minute. I am just taking a look here. It's about 80% uploaded. I'm going to start at one other channel. Keep our Lethal Toad going. We had a good streak. I just want to keep one channel or the other uploaded with the most recent videos. So people who only follow that and don't know about the two channels, they don't think I'm leaving them in the dark. So I typically live stream on MMA Toad, upload the YouTube breakdown with Lethal on MMA, or Lethal Toad MMA. But man's taking care of shop. I told him I'm always happy to collaborate whenever. I won't always do weigh-in shows, things like that. It's, if you ask me, it's a lot of work for not a lot. I mean, I'm happy when people want to just kick it and shoot the shit and literally talk amongst ourselves, bets, slips, whatever. But in terms of driving ship, streaming, all that, the do's and don'ts, music, just if I'm not jamming out, chilling like that, I'm clocking in. I'm trying to do this, right? So sometimes it's nice to shoot the shit, not always be streaming too. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about, and the weigh-ins are interesting, and there's good conversations and props. I'm happy to host all day. But if it's just Lethal and I, then it's like, well, no need to film everything, right? So we've had our nights, we've had our nights where some people are definitely coming through and active in chat, and it's pretty cool. So a couple of you here, again, big shout out to our friends over at 10-7 MMA, Bam Bam, Dana Black, Pro Schmo, those guys are rocking it too. So from Lethal and I, sincerely, we appreciate you guys having us this year. It was a lot of fun to do those last few collabs with you. I know it takes a bit of time, but I think it's pretty informative. People really do like the opinions. And yeah, there's some big fades, but sometimes they hit too. So it's nice to get some of the fades wrong and just be like, okay, I can see why that was a 3-1 favorite or 4-1 favorite. But sometimes these dogs bark, man. Don't y'all forget it. That's why I like my distant props. I don't have to coin flip. I can just respect how it gets finished and secure that leg. You know what I mean? All right, YouTube video is up. We'll get it going over to we'll get it going over to this other channel here soon. All right, getting this posted over to the Lethal Toad. And we're honestly just straight chilling, boys. All right, get everything uploaded there. So cool. Well, again, thanks guys for chilling out. I'm gonna refire stream. If you're over on YouTube, hop over to either Twitch or Kick if you're interested. We jammed out some music in last few hours before I get some rest, doing some gaming, just chilling. YouTube videos are up. MMA Toad is up now, and reposting over to Lethal Toad, just so people know that we're still alive. Just because we're not streaming over there tonight doesn't mean we're not getting the uploads. So, all right, gonna kill this stream. Be up here soon. You guys know where to